I want to show you these insane quotes by Barack Obama.
If there's any chance of us being able to act constructively to do something, it will require an admission of complexity.
Already, I'm already like, you know, I thought he was going to say it will require us doing something, cutting off the funding for Israel, right? Let's get active. Let's go in front of the UN and say Israel is committing crimes against humanity, right? Those are real actions. But in Obama's mushy mouth bullshit, it's if we're going to do anything, we just need to sit back and acknowledge complexity. Just think about what that word means. We're just going to sit and we're going to think for a while as children are bombed.
And maintaining what on the surface may seem contradictory ideas. That what Hamas did was horrific and there's no justification for it. And what is also true is that the occupation and what's happening to Palestinians is unbearable.
Okay. You notice the difference of the way he phrases what Hamas did with what Israel is doing right now. What Hamas did, first of all, he gives you a very clear subject, right? Very clear. Hamas did it. We are telling you, Hamas fucking did it. They did it. So very clear subject. Also, he says was horrific. Horrific. That's just about the strongest term that Obama uses because I don't think he curses. Horrific. Hamas did it. It's horrific. Then he gets to the next factor. And also we need to acknowledge. Now, you're wondering, is he going to say what Israel is doing, giving them the subject of that part of the sentence, saying Israel is doing, but then also, is he going to say it's horrific? And instead, not only does he not say the word Israel, he says the occupation, vague, right? Who's occupying? I don't know. Vague occupation. But then, and what's happening to Palestinians is unbearable. What does he mean? Like they got the flu? They got COVID? What's happening to them? He didn't say what Hamas did is horrific and what Israel is doing is horrific. He so carefully worded this bullshit. Unbelievable. It's just, I mean, it's not unbelievable because this is what he does. This is what he's done his whole career. This is who he is, but still.
And what is also true is that there is a history of the Jewish people that may be dismissed unless you.
The hell is he like? Just miring this discussion down in this is hilarious to me. It's like they're bombing children in hospitals and they're assassinating journalists, and you're like, what the history of the Jewish people? It's just amazing how he mires this answer down in just mud.
Your grandparents or your great-grandparents or your uncle or your...
List every other family member, Obama. Get as far away from the actual topic as you can, or your uncle or your aunt or your aunt's friend or your aunt's friend's niece or the niece or the dog that your niece's friend had. How far do you want? Jesus.
Your aunt tell you stories about the madness of anti-Semitism?
Okay. Yes, I've heard that from my family. I lost family in the Holocaust, not family I ever knew, obviously. But yeah, none of that has to do with you clearly stating to this audience, the live audience there, the millions that are going to watch this video, stating Israel is committing genocide. Israel is killing children. Say it. Not vaguely, the occupation and what seems to be happening to Palestinians.
And what is true is that
this is such garbage.
That there are people right now who are dying.
Who are dying? Wow. Can you get more vague than that? Heart disease? Was it heart disease? I think all the Gazans have been struck by heart disease, right? All right, this is so much garbage, but I want to skip further and because it just gets worse.
Admit nobody's hands are clean.
Oh yeah, nobody's hands are clean. You led one of the largest war states, mass murdering states this world has ever seen. And you're telling me and the child in Poughkeepsie that nobody's hands are clean? Well, ours are fucking cleaner than yours. Tell you that much. Nobody's hands are clean.
That all of us are complicit to some degree.
He's trying to write off the fact that he's very complicit. He led this for years. This is Mr. Complicity. He oversaw the sending of bombs to Israel to drop on Gaza, and they were dropped on Gaza when he was president. He oversaw the system in Israel that's an apartheid state that has an open-air prison. He oversaw that and could have put pressure on Israel and never did. So his hands have blood on them. And he's trying to say, you know what? It's all of us. It's all of us. Imagine if Jeffrey Dahmer, Timothy McVeigh said, you know, it really is all of us. Isn't it all of us a little bit?
I look at this and I think back, what could I have done?
This is my favorite part. What could Obama have done
during my presidency to move this forward as hard as I tried? I've got the scars to prove it.
Oh my God. As hard as I tried. I know some people still have a sweet spot in their heart for Obama, even if they might not vote for him today. And they think, you know, he did try and end war and American, you know, the war on Afghanistan. No, he didn't. 26,000 bombs were dropped under Obama's final year by the U.S. military. And even if you want to argue that he could not have personally decreased munitions sent to Israel, which I think he probably could have. But even if you want to argue he couldn't have without Congress's consent, the power of his office is such that he can bring anything to a crawl. He could shut things down. He could slow things down. He could certainly slow down the amount of bombs being sent to Israel. But on top of that, just the speeches he could give. Could you imagine if the president of the United States got in front of millions upon million people around the world and said, what Israel's doing is an apartheid state. What Israel's doing is a genocide. What Israel's doing is assassinating medics and doctors and journalists and children and elderly and the infirmed. If a 30-second speech where he said that, it would be seen by every human on this planet, because who wouldn't watch that? And it would have massive ramifications that would ripple through every level of society. And he didn't do that. No. Because of course not. Because he got to his position as president of the United States by doing the opposite. By agreeing with the war state, by agreeing with the empire. Israel is part of the U.S. empire. It is really a vassal state to the U.S. empire. And as Joe Biden has said multiple times, if Israel didn't exist, we'd have to invent it. Meaning we need our military outpost in the Middle East.
But there's a part of me that's still saying, well, was there something else I could have done? That's the conversation we should be having. Not just looking backwards, but looking forward. And that can't happen.
Is there something else I could have done? Yeah. Obama's fucking Schindler right there, looking at his wristwatch and going, how many Palestinians could this have saved? Yeah, okay, Schindler. Was there anything else I could have done? Anything is what you could have done. Anything.